Cost of living in America. Let's talk about it.
I know I'm not the first one to say this, but how the fuck did things get so expensive? I went to Starbucks the other day with my daughter. I got a tall latte, a small. She got an orange juice. She wanted an orange juice. I said, no problem. I get both. The guy says, cool, meet you at the window. It's going to be $13. Driving up, I'm like, $13 for a small latte and orange juice? There's no way. So I tell the guy, I think you made a mistake. $13. I just got a small. She got an orange juice. Like, I think there's a mistake. He's like, nope, it's $13. Orange juice and tall latte. Do you want the receipt? I was like, pardon? The orange juice was $6.50. He asked me if I still want the orange juice. I was like, do you want me to get in a fight with my child? I just told her she could have one. We ordered one. She heard it all. She heard the exchange. It's happening. But did I know it was going to be $6.50? No. How the fuck did we get here?
$6.50 for an orange juice is wild. Yo, Starbucks. You know what? I think one of the best decisions that I've ever, or I guess one of the best purchases I've ever made, and I'm a big coffee buff, guys. I love coffee. Love, 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 love coffee. One of the best purchases I've ever made is an espresso machine. Yes, a little bit of an upfront cost, but besides one coffee meeting I had, I don't remember the last time I purchased a coffee. I love my espresso machine. It's literally one of the best purchases I've ever made. It took way too long to purchase it, but it just... Little side note there. That's wild. That's wild because on top of Starbucks, like coffee, an orange juice, everything else is wildly expensive. Now, yes, could she have probably, got an orange juice at home and maybe went to Dunks and got a much cheaper coffee? Yeah, but I guess that's the life we're living right now. You got to cut corners when you can. Like $13 on an orange juice and coffee is absolutely wild. Wild.
Why does life come with a cover charge? Like, just to leave the house, just to stay home and realize all the shit you're fucking out of? I just crashed out so hard earlier that I lost my voice. Sure, I'll get laundry soap for the third time this week. Why are we doing 17 loads of laundry a day in my house? Because I have 3 teenage sons. Groceries just cost me $300 for a cart that looked like I was prepping for a 2-day prison sentence, okay? It got me nothing. Nothing. Like, you get some meat and vegetables, or you get bread, snacks, and drinks. You're not getting both at that price point. Like, let me start rationing my teen son's food. I'm sure he'll be pleased. I'm going to disassociate now. My cell phone bill, $300, insurance, $450, and I don't even want to say my car payment, my utilities, and my mortgage out loud. I'd be invoking Satan himself if I did that. Gas, $60 today to fill up my tank. Then my son comes strolling out of the bathroom all casual, like, Ma, I'm going to need some toothpaste and deodorant. Sir, you better eat a fucking Tic Tac and start hugging some pine trees because you're breaking me. Meanwhile, the cats are like, meow, meow, we need litter and food. Honestly, y'all are freeloaders with fur. And Christmas is basically knocking on the door already. It's 4 months away? 4 months? Because we're into fall already. So yeah, 4 months. Plus 2 kids' birthdays before then. I just spent $60 on school pictures so I can remember the year my son's hair channeled Betty White. Would wrapping empty Amazon and boxes and selling them as mystery Christmas gifts be frowned upon? Like, could it not come every year, maybe every 3 years instead? That seems more reasonable to me. At this point, I have side hustles. I'm ready for another. Like, what's being a lady of the night pay these days? I'll sit on a corner with a sign, I've got change for $5. Somebody tell me if that's a W-2 or 1099 situation, and would that bother my husband? Probably.
Yo, so funny. I mean... So we look at the time we're in right now, and it is tough. Like, it sucks. I mean, like she said, anytime my wife orders groceries or, we go to the grocery store and get 2 little sacks of groceries, $80. Don't even talk to me about Costco. There's a hidden rule. When you walk into Costco, you can't walk out for under $300. It's wild. It's unbelievable. You got rising taxes, insurance through the roof. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and keep adding more taxes on our dollar. It's a very, very rough time that we're living in right now because, yes, I tend to always say, hey, this is how we can get better. This is what we do with our finances. Hoorah, hoorah, hoorah. Let's do this. But, when it comes down to it, right now is tough. Plain and simple. I mean, it is a very tough time to get by financially. And I don't think this is, going to be the future forever. I don't. But I do think this is a time in our lives where we're going to have to live a little differently. I do. That's changes to our lifestyle. We can't live as fancy as we did 5 years ago. It's not in the cards. It isn't. Stuff costs way too much money.
So the good news is everyone feels broke, except people in the middle of the country. The people who made like $65,000, I swear to God, had the most confidence. I swear to God. They were like, I'm doing great. I make $50,000 a year. Living like a king. I live in Kentucky. The people on the coast made $300 to $400, barely surviving. That's wild. That it's that much more expensive. I think the people who lived in the middle of America were like, you guys just need to learn to budget better. I would like that person who was like, I make $65,000 and I'm doing good in Alabama to go move to San Francisco and have that same attitude, because it was a little insulting. They're like, you have to budget better. We're drowning, and I think that companies need to step it up. They need to step it up because, yeah, people will take those jobs, but they won't be able to just have that job. This is why people have side hustles. This is why we're all like emotionally messes, because let's say you have to take that job. That's it. How you can't keep up.
So, this is a tough one. Because I lived on both, right? I've lived in the East Coast, Florida and Maine, and I've lived in the West, Arizona, and have lived smack dab in the middle of the country in good old Missouri. And I will say, yes, the middle of America is much more affordable, much lower cost of living than our fellow states on each side of our coastline. With that being said, there's still a point where you're like, yes, you have to manage your finances, you have to look at what you're spending. But if it was me and I was, again, I get some flack for this from you guys when I say this, but this is my opinion. It's my channel, I'll say what I want. If it was me in that situation and I'm living in one of those coastal towns or those coastal states, and I'm struggling, right? Like, I'm never getting ahead. I'm never making any money. I'm behind every single month. I'm doing everything that I can to budget, to live, the way I should be living financially, and I'm actually doing that. People say they do, but they don't. But if I was actually doing that, I would look at moving. I would. You have to play the cards that you were dealt, right? And I know that sucks to say and it sucks to hear, but like, if you're going through a rough time, if you're living during a rough era, like, look at the people back in the 30s when they lived through the Depression. Like, do you think they wanted to live in the Depression? No, they didn't. But they got through it because they made the changes accordingly to make it through the Depression. Now, I'm not saying we're living in a depression right now. I don't think we're even close to that yet. But I do know we're living in some tough times. And whenever you're faced with tough times, you have to make some pretty tough decisions. Now, I'm not saying you have to go move, right? Like, try to figure out a way to make it happen if that's your home. But I just think about some tough decisions I've had to make in my life. And if I was in that circumstance where I literally, like, there was just nothing else I could do, I would really think about starting to look, while keeping my job where I'm at, for something elsewhere in the Midwest. At least until I can afford to move back to where I was at previously. You guys hate when I say that, but you know what? I would rather live somewhere knowing that I can get by instead of living somewhere where I know I'm struggling every month and I'm a day away from everything just falling apart.
The cost of living keeps going up, and these are things that I've had to cut out from my budget to adapt. Getting my eyebrows done. I used to get them threaded regularly, and now I just taught myself how to pluck them. And unfortunately, I can't get them as snatched as I would like them to be, but it's a small sacrifice that I can cut out from my budget pretty easily. This one's infuriating. New makeup. I used to love trying new products. But now, I just can't justify it. And drugstore makeup prices are getting insane. Like, since when has drugstore mascara, drugstore, been like $15 a tube? So I had to make a deal with myself that I can't buy any new makeup until I finish what I have.
So, see, that's what I was kind of talking about earlier, guys. Is like, right now, where we're living at, we kind of just have to make do, right? I mean, it sucks. It really sucks because we don't know how long this is going to last, right? We don't know how long this high cost of living is going to go on for. And also, what's also not helping us is the value of our dollar is going down in value, it's depreciating because of the amount of money being printed. So you got both these things working against you, and as much as people don't want to hear it, you can't live the same lifestyle you lived 5, 6, 7 years ago. We're not living in that same world, unfortunately. And I think the only couple ways we can get by right now is, one, lowering our lifestyle, like not doing as many wants as we want to do, but also, two, really trying to focus on creating more income. Side hustles is the new norm, unfortunately, guys, and we hopefully will make it to a time where we don't have to live a side hustle. But YouTube, it's a side hustle for me. I got the mortgage stuff that I do. It's my day job. I do YouTube. It's just side hustle, I guess you'd call it, but I think it's the other way around. YouTube is my full-time. Mortgage is more my side hustle. But you get what I'm saying. I have to have a side hustle. You got to. If you want to live a certain lifestyle, or you want to save money for retirement, or whatever you're doing, you want to be able to afford groceries. Sometimes we have to make those sacrifices in the tough times so that whenever times get good again, we're sitting all right. We're sitting pretty.
I bought my daughter 2 pairs of pajamas because she desperately needs winter pajamas because it's already cold here. And I bought her 2 pairs of pajamas, and I spent almost $40 on them. Almost $20 for a pair of pajamas. Like, what world are we living in? Why? Why does everything cost this much money? You're telling me if I want to get my kid a week's worth of pajamas, I'm going to spend over $100? That's nuts.
That is crazy. But we look at some comments here. It says, thrift store, most of the children's clothes are like new. She said, I usually agree. I supervised at Goodwill for years, but our local one has gone downhill while raising prices. And I've seen that too. I mean, some of the stuff you see at these thrift stores is like, oh my goodness. But like, if I was at like my wit's end, I couldn't afford anything, I'm definitely shopping at thrift stores, Goodwill, whatever, to get by. But the moral of this story here is like, we should be able to go buy cheap pajamas. You know what I mean? Like, holy crap, stuff has gotten insane. This girl says, my daughter sleeps in the t-shirt she wears the next day. I also got tired of buying pajamas and tired of fighting her to change out of her pajamas every day. So luckily my kids don't really wear pajamas. They sleep in their underwear, so it's pretty easy. But yeah, I mean, pajamas, lattes, orange juice, groceries, getting your eyebrows plucked, whatever. This is the stuff that's kind of like, yikes. It sucks right now. It's not like just one thing's expensive. Everything is. Everything is too much money. And when is it going to stop? When is it going to be cheaper to live? When are wages going to catch up with inflation? Maybe that's a better question. When do you think that's going to happen? I'm waiting.
Bro, if I knew how bad the economy was going to be up to date, I wouldn't have been riding no bikes, playing no video games. I would have bought a house when I was 10. They did a study based on today's economy. Like, what should minimum wage be based on today's economy to make sure an American is comfortable living a day-to-day life, like with the prices, how the prices is up to date. Bro, do you know how much they say you need to make an hour to be comfortable around this motherfucker? $66 fucking dollars an hour. $66 an hour, bro. Who the fuck making that? That ain't even the kicker. You make $66 an hour. You work 40 hours a week. At the end of the month, guess how much you gonna have in whole? 10 bands. Oh no, but don't think you taking the whole 10 bands. You forgot about Uncle Sam. You're going home with 6,500. Maybe a 7 ball if you lucky. Okay, so eliminate all the bills and life expenses from that 6,500. You left even motherfuckers who making $66 an hour after paying all their bills and life expenses at the end of the month. They only gonna be able to save a band or two a month. So regular motherfuckers like me and you was just cooked. We po. We just at this point we just on the internet seeing who can be po better. Who can be best at being po.
Who can be best at being poor? I love that. I think right now is our like buckled down period. I do. I think right now is our time that we have to pull back the spending. We have to, not go buy all the fancy stuff, and we have to buckle down for a few years. And unfortunately, I think a lot of consumers are starting to feel that, especially with the one data point I've been watching very closely that's starting to uptick a little bit. And I've talked about that in one of my previous videos, and that's layoffs. Unemployment is starting to rise. I don't know if we'll see another consistent increase in unemployment this next following when the next report comes out next month. But that's one thing that's starting to worry me as well. And whenever you have a nation that comes together and is like-minded and saying, hey, things are too expensive, we're going to pull back our spending, there's a normal cycle that happens there where, over time, prices are going to have to come down because people are not spending money. That's what kind of helps cause a recession. When everyone pulls back, tightens up their ship a little bit, and they're like, hey, I'm not buying anything. It's too freaking expensive. I'm going to buy my bare necessities, and that's it. Well, then everything starts, unfolding. Companies start laying off. Recessions start happening. So, unfortunately, the pessimistic side of me looks at that and thinks, man, we may be in for a rude awakening. Times may get worse before they get better. But then the optimistic side of me looks at it and says, hey, this is a little bit of a tough times right now. We're going to come out ahead and everyone's going to look better. Which one do you think is going to happen first? Do you think times are going to get worse before they get better? Or are we on our way up and things are already starting to look better? And unfortunately, I tend to side with the first part. I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But what that means is now is the time to start preparing, right? Now is the time to maybe stop spending so much on our lavish lifestyles, reel it in a little bit, pile some extra cash away in our high yield savings account. If you don't have a high yield savings account, check out Public, link below in the description. They have a high yield cash account you can put your money in. You can also invest with Public. Again, link in the description, check them out. Highly recommend. Maybe that's what we should start doing. Instead of getting our nails done or whatever it is, or me getting my fades, which I'm looking a little puffy here. Maybe we need to pull it in a little bit and start saving some more and be prepared when those times come.
No one can live off of these salaries. It was just shown that there's a 109% increase in default credit card payment for those with the highest credit ratings. That's saying a 781 to an 850, 109% increase in credit default. So what's that saying to us? These are the people that, based on credit scores, people have a lot of opinions about credit scores, but they are the best with money. And these people can't pay their bills. They can't pay their credit card bills. How are the rest of the world paying their credit card bills for the people who truly have the bad credit score, who probably have a bad credit score because they don't have the money? It is time that somebody says it, that somebody says to the companies, somebody says to the government, and by the way, bills are going to get worse because the Republicans have let all of the extra credits that go to the health insurance to make it more affordable, those just expired. So very soon, your health insurance is going to be going up by hundreds of dollars. People don't have an extra $100. They don't have an extra $100. If the people who are best at paying their bills are 109% increase in credit default, what's the rest of the world going to do? What are the people with the 400 scores, the 500 scores, the 600 scores going to be doing? We're screwed. We are screwed. People are being paid like it's 2009, like it's 2010. They cannot live off of these salaries. We're screwed.
Like I said, guys, unfortunately, I think times are going to get worse before they get better. And that's why I cannot stress enough why right now is the time to buckle down. Right now is the time to prepare yourself financially so that we can get through the even tougher times. Now, some of you may be like, well, I already can't get by. Well, that's why it's like, all right, we need to go find extra jobs, or we need to start a side hustle, and we need to stockpile money away for 3 to 6 months in case we do lose our jobs as unemployment starts rising. And because here's what I worry about, right? Like for me personally, getting on a more personal level, if we do go through a major recession and we look at, everything's just kind of like, everyone's kind of just freaking out, my income dries up from YouTube for ad revenue. Like I'm not getting paid on this anymore. And then, people probably aren't buying homes, so they're not going to get a mortgage. So for me, what I've been doing is I've been stockpiling a lot more cash away. I've also been still investing a lot, even though, stock market's at all-time highs, but I'm still investing my money as well. And I'm preparing myself that if I do have, 12 months of very, 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 very low income, I can get by because I prepared. I stockpiled cash away. Now, if that does happen, I won't be living that same lifestyle I'm living now. I will have to cut back on almost everything. And that way I know I can just, I can still get by. I'll still be okay. I'll still be all right. But my family and I are going to have to live a different lifestyle. So you tell me, do you think it's just now starting and it's going to continuously get worse? Or are we at the end of it? You let me know.